Now here is an Inside the Eye feature from our global friendly outlet sources exclusively picked for Blue Eye Media. Learn the truth behind what mainstream and opinion outlets will never say. Get the inside facts of this chronicle.
Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going
Name one political concession.
Name
one political concession.
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's
everybody,
in my face.
everybody, hang tight.
Honestly.
Okay. No, everybody, calm down. Okay. We're having a debate. You can respond to the points that he's making.
Can you name a political concession that we've got?
I just had a flashback to the war the skinheads had in my studio.
I would be mad if I had to defend war too. I would be mad if I had to defend war.
Scott, you can respond.
We have a very simple goal: to keep terrorists and a terrorist regime from having a nuclear weapon that can threaten the United States, our interests in the region, our allies in Europe, anybody else in the world.
So you can't answer the question. Thank you. I would get mad too.
All right, we're going to leave it there, guys.
MAGA commentator Scott Jennings just had a meltdown on air, telling liberal commentator Adam Mockler to, quote, "get your effing hand out of my face." He said this on live television. Just watch.
Been at war with us for 47
years. We all
years.
know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Name
one political concession. Name one political concession.
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's in my face.
Everybody, hang tight.
Well, would you look at that? Another MAGA snowflake who can't take the pressure. He can't take the heat. And when he's pressed by somebody who knows what they're talking about, that's exactly what happens. He results to these threats on live television. It's crazy. A grown-ass man behaving like that to a 23-year-old on live television. It really just doesn't get more insane than that.
A right-wing CNN commentator just had a full-blown meltdown live on air after a young commentator called him out over his hypocrisy about the war in Iran and about his support for Donald Trump and George W. Bush. This was great.
We all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time. Name one political concession. Name one political concession.
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's in my face.
Bro is literally cursing at a guy half his age for spitting facts. And that's why Scott Jennings cursed. It's because he had no legitimate comeback. And so he resorted to vulgar language live on air. CNN should fire this clown immediately. And kudos to Adam Mockler for putting him in his place.
Making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time. Name one political concession. Name one political concession.
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's in my face.
Everybody, hang tight.
Honestly.
Okay. No.
So that happened yesterday on CNN. The guy on the left is Scott Jennings. He's the former special assistant to George Bush and current Trump apologist. He's a professional gaslighter and liar. And the guy on the right who he got mad at is Adam Mockler, who's 20 years his junior and always calls him out on his bullshit, and I love it. Love Adam. Adam is amazing. And let's face it, the reason Scott Jennings got mad is because Adam was asking the right questions. And look, Adam always asks the right questions, even in non-political environments.
Okay, what's this guy doing? What kind of content do you make?
Social political commentary.
Oh, holy crap.
What made you think one beer isn't enough to be holding? I need to be holding 2 beers right now.
It's a good question. But also, let's review the tape. He said, "Get your fucking head out of my face." Here's the screenshot of just before he said that, and you'll notice hand, not in face. In fact, to get a good measurement how far his hand was away from his face, this is Scott Jennings' head. And on the other side of the Grand Canyon is Adam's hand. So what does this prove? It proves that once again, MAGA is just a bunch of triggered snowflakes who can't handle the truth.
Support from Piping Productions and Blue Eye Media.
Are you tired of waking up hungover and worrying about what happened last night? That's why I've been reaching for Willie's Remedy Plus, the THC-infused social tonic that lets you have fun and actually feel good the next day. If you're trying to be more intentional this year, Willie's gives you that social uplifting buzz without wrecking your goals. For me, it's perfect for unwinding after a long day, socializing without alcohol, or even getting a little creative. It kicks in fast, feels smooth and euphoric, and there's no hangover waiting for you in the morning. Willie's is a premium THC-infused social tonic crafted by the legendary Willie Nelson, inspired by Willie's way of living where peace flows freely and hangovers are a thing of the past. It is a low-calorie, low-sugar, alcohol alternative that actually works, delivering a fast-acting, euphoric social buzz without the regrets that come with alcohol. Willie's isn't that feared edible you ate too much of in college. Each bottle is third-party lab-tested for accurate dosage with a unique blend of THC, CBD, CBG, and L-theanine that delivers calm, clarity, euphoria, and relaxation. Willie's social tonics come in 5 milligrams and 10 milligram doses with a best-in-class flavor experience, so smooth and balanced you barely realize you're drinking a THC product at all. You can enjoy the tonics as a shot, sipped over ice, or mixed into your favorite mocktail. One shot of Willie's helps you relax, unwind, and distress. Perfect for taking the edge off after a long day or socializing with friends. Willie's offers the kind of feeling that makes good company even better. Willie's sold out 3 times in the first 6 months with over 50,000 happy customers, and they just restocked. Willie's ships directly to your doorstep in 40 plus states. Order now at drinkwillies.com and use code Meidas for 20% off your first order, plus free shipping on orders over $95, and enjoy life in the high country. That's drinkwillies.com, code Meidas, M-E-I-D-A-S.
All right, we have a very serious conversation to have. There is currently a concerted effort among war-loving, neoconservative Trump sycophants, both in the administration and in the media, to silence our ability to call out Donald Trump's failing war with Iran. I am not making this up. Even Donald Trump's FCC chair, Brendan Carr, responded to a video on Twitter of me debating Scott Jennings. In this video, I am trying to hold Scott Jennings to account on Trump's failing Iran war. This is not the first war that Scott Jennings has had to defend from a Republican administration who is putting us in the debt and sending more troops into the Middle East, and it probably won't be the last war that Scott Jennings has to defend from a failing Republican administration. So I'm sorry that I went on air and I tried to actually hold somebody to account when they've repeatedly refused to answer any questions about this. Well, Scott Jennings snapped in my face. I'll play the clip in just one moment, but this clip went incredibly viral. And Donald Trump's own FCC chair, Brendan Carr, responds and says, FCC rules don't prohibit profanity on cable. Then he responds even further after an account called S.A. Trump Dog asks him, what are the rules on smacking someone on cable? Yes, our FCC chair Brendan Carr then responds, also not prohibited. And someone then says, good shit. Thank you for opening that door for us. So this is Donald Trump's FCC chair, a grown-ass man who holds a lot of power within the administration, within the media, within the entertainment ecosystem. He is currently wink wink nudge nudging me getting slapped on air because I debated Scott Jennings a little bit too hard, because he didn't like the way that a liberal YouTuber was owning Scott Jennings on air. You know, listen, I'm not going to act like a baby about it and say that I'm scared or that he's actually threatening me. I don't feel threatened, but I think it's kind of pathetic that we have grown men in this administration who are constantly beefing on Twitter because they can't handle being held account regarding a war that they started. But then it gets even worse. Then it blows up even more because Chris Cuomo holds a panel on this very interaction between Scott Jennings and I. And on the panel, he has Geraldo Rivera, who was actually on the CNN set. He was on the table with us. And then was Governor Sununu on the right. I don't even know who that is, honestly. But Geraldo Rivera then starts saying that I'm a dick, that I was being a dick on air, which is very, very different from what he said off air right after Scott Jennings snapped at me. By the way, here's the clip of Scott Jennings snapping if you haven't seen it.
I mean, honestly, they have been at war with us for 47
We
years.
all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat? Is that
Homie,
what you
I
have?
debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not
Can you
going your
name
way.
one political
Get your
concession.
fucking hand out of my
Name
face
one political
first.
concession.
Whoa, guys,
Honestly, I'm not
excuse me.
going
Hold
to
on,
have
hold
this guy's hand
Everybody,
in my face.
everybody, hang tight.
Honestly.
Okay. No, everybody, calm down. Okay. We're having a debate. You can respond to the points that he's making.
Can you name a political concession that we've got?
I just had a flashback to the war the skinheads had in my studio.
I would be mad if I had to defend war too. I would be mad if I had to defend war.
Scott, you can respond.
We have
and
a
then
very
we'll move
simple. We have a very simple goal: to keep terrorists and a terrorist regime from having a nuclear weapon that can threaten the United States, our interests in the region, our allies in Europe, anybody else in the world.
So you can't answer the question.
That is
I
our
would
goal.
get mad too.
All right, we're going to leave it there, guys. Next for us, the president suggests ABC.
And after seeing that interaction, you can see why Brendan Carr said FCC rules don't prohibit profanity on cable. I actually replied to him directly. I said, can you show a pussy on air? Because CNN did, and this is nearing 2 million views. Listen, guys, I know a lot of people in the comments are going to say, why would you respond in this manner? But at some point, when the Republican Party is dragging us down to new depths, we can't be sitting there trying to piece together the rule book and figure out where things went wrong and how we can take the high road. At some point, when grown-ass men in their 60s or whatever are trying to attack me on Twitter and say that it's not prohibited to smack me on air, which, by the way, that would just be assault at that point. Like, our literal FCC chair is wink, wink, nudge, nudging that someone can smack me on air, but that would just be assault at that point, and he's forgetting that point. But then I respond in a reciprocal manner. I respond in the way that Trump has been talking to us for a decade. I respond in the way that our FCC chair has been talking to us for the past year or so. It is time for this sort of reciprocal energy. And by the way, if you agree, make sure you drop a like. Subscribe to the Adam Mockler feed. Now is the moment when the community should rise up, come together, and make sure you subscribe below. Also, if you're on Twitter, go follow me there. If you're on Instagram, go follow me there. We're building an active community of people who can push back in an effective manner. Now, let's jump over to this segment with Geraldo Rivera and Chris Sununu. It's honestly so cringe I can't even watch it. Chris Cuomo does a decent job of trying to stick up and defend me, but Geraldo Rivera then says that I was being a dick. Before I even play this, do you know who Scott Jennings is? Scott Jennings has built his career over the past few years off of being a huge dick to anybody on CNN. Any liberal who goes on the air, mainly liberal women, he'll trap and troll and he'll smirk and he'll be a huge asshole. So I've been on air with Scott Jennings so many times that I've picked up a few things from him. I've learned things from him. I learned things from Scott Jennings. I learned things from Donald Trump, which is controversial. But yes, some of the political tactics that we employ, I learned from the most slimy operators because we want to use it to rebuild and regain a better democracy. So yeah, I go on air and I'm also being aggressive as well, because I'm asking him about a war. I'm not going to tone down the way that I ask about a war that Scott Jennings is defending. If you can't take the heat about defending a war that is failing, maybe you shouldn't be defending that war in the first place. Let me play this clip.
Chris, the kid was a dick. I mean, he really smart, eloquent, had his argument together, had obviously debated Scott before, and he was really being a dick. I mean, it was shut up, go out and get some life experience.
How many different ways do the three of us, so you have one of the best broadcasters in history, right? Mr. Mediocre in the middle, and Governor Sununu, who's one of the most celebrated public officials in his state, period. All of us have at least 6 ways. Dusty just said, what? My favorite governor ever. Oh, there you go. And she knows my brother's going to kill her for that, but that's okay. I know. We all have at least 6 ways to deal with somebody trying to get our goat, right? you would never allow yourself to act that way or the way you would with your brother, right? I'm telling you, here's my concern, is that what you represent, Chris, is being lost right now. I believe them.
So I wrote a direct response to that Chris Cuomo segment that I'll read for you in one moment, but it's very important to contextualize what actually happened during this CNN panel, because I was not the instigator of this. Not that it matters, you shouldn't snap at somebody on live television either way, but when the panel started, Scott Jennings immediately began taking low blow jabs at my age. Geraldo was sitting right there. I don't know if he forgot about this, if he doesn't have the brain elasticity to remember this, but homie, Scott Jennings immediately takes a jab at me.
So here's what we're doing.
No political concessions.
When you get up at past your bedtime, you get hyper. Here's the deal. We have a clear issue here.
You're shaking, bro.
We have a clear issue.
Abby immediately has to go, all right, Scott, come on, that's not appropriate. This was like 2 minutes into the panel because I asked him a simple question. So can we just back up for one moment? Think about this in the context. Scott Jennings goes on TV every single night to defend the Trump administration's actions regarding ICE, Renee Good, Alex Preddy, Doge, Medicaid cuts, all of this. He goes on television to defend the Iran war as it fails and drains our pockets. And then the very moment that I try to ask him a direct question, hey, can you name a political concession we've gotten from this war? Hey, we're 60 days into this war. Trump said he wouldn't start any wars. Then he said it would be 4 to 6 weeks, but now that we're 60 days in, can you name me what we're getting from this war? And apparently, that question is so incredibly offensive to MAGA that he's able to just say, oh, you're up past your bedtime and throwing a tantrum. So later on in the segment, I force the same exact question. I say, Scott, I want you to tell me what political concessions we've gotten. And he sticks his finger in my face and starts yelling at me. If he wanted me to tone down my hand movements, that's one thing. I'm a very rational person, and he could have been like, hey, dude, can we not do that right now? It's a little bit much. And I would have been like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Instead, he snaps like a little kid, like a little petulant child, because he can't answer for this failing war. So then for Geraldo Rivera to hop on television and say that I'm being a dick, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be nicer about this. I'm not going to be nicer about the way that I ask about war on live television. Sorry if I'm getting a little bit worked up, but I just find the double standards to be so incredibly unfair. Like, hey, I'm Scott Jennings. I'm going to go on television every single night and defend the destruction of our country, our economy, and our standing on the global stage. The moment that somebody asks them about it, even if I was being a bit aggressive, that's too far. That is a step over the line. It's not. I'm sorry. So I responded directly to this Chris Cuomo segment, and I just want to read some of my tweet. I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be nicer about this. Neocon boomers are mortgaging my generation's future by amassing trillions in debt, turning America into a pariah on the global stage, and getting our troops killed for another failing war. I have to watch these neocons lie about the state of this war on TV every single day. Then the moment I push back and assertively ask, hey, what's the actual goal here? I have a legion of neocon boomers telling me I should know my place, or I should wait my turn to talk with the grown-ups. Fuck that, genuinely. I'm not claiming to have all the answers. I'm not claiming to know better than our military experts. I'm not claiming to be all-knowing. I understand I'm 23 years old. I've got a lot of limitations. But young people generally, not just me, but young people overall deserve a seat at the table and deserve some sort of representation to fight for our interests when 95% of media is made up of people like Geraldo Rivera or Scott Jennings. So yeah, it's an uphill battle for people like you, for people like me, whether you're of any age. It's an uphill battle for liberals in the first place. But it's also an uphill battle for young liberals to have a voice or a seat at this table. So for Scott Jennings and all these people to constantly demean, just too much. So I then wrote another thread breaking down my point in the Scott Jennings debate, which is basically that there is more to war than just killing an enemy. What you actually want to get in a war is political concessions from your enemy using military force. If you're just killing a bunch of people but not getting any political concessions, that's not really a victory in war at all. Like, the goal is to get them to concede to some stuff that helps our country, right? So I wrote a whole thread breaking this down, and some Fox contributor named Jim Hansen, another neocon MAGA boomer, and I know a lot of you guys are boomers. I love all of the boomers out there that watch me, all the liberal boomers, of course, but there's a certain strain of neoconservative people that exist in DC that that definitely are kind of ruining our country. And it's not really age, it's people of all ages. But this guy in particular, Jim Hansen, writes this long thread. Check this out. He goes, I can't think of anything more comical than a 23-year-old with zero real-world accomplishments explaining to MAGA operators how warfare works. Oh, Adam, tell me where you gained this tremendous insight. I'm not some ivory tower academic. I've deployed to dozens of countries I doubt you could find on a map. Jesus Christ, man. This guy is like doing the one meme where he's like, I'm a Navy SEAL. I've killed more people than you know. Jesus Christ, bro. Chill the hell out. He says, now we have a leader who understands American power and exceptionalism and has the stones to deploy it. But instead of seeing how that plays out, we should take the advice of unexperienced smarmy toads who vomit political talking points. Talk is cheap. Uninformed trash. Talk from fatuous, fat-faced, featherbrain is the cheapest of all. Okay, so this guy's mad. So you're going to assume that this guy has a really solid point to make, right? He wrote all of this, but he didn't even respond to my main question. So I then responded to him. You wrote a lot of words, but still can't answer the infamous question. Can you name one single political concession Trump has gotten out of Iran 60 days into this war? His answer was dog shit. He goes, continue proving that you don't understand the use of force as one element of state power. Iran hasn't conceded because their military and religious leaders are fanatics. Okay, so he says it right there. Iran hasn't conceded anything. He's basically giving me my point. Because he splintered them from the political and civic leaders. They are isolated and broke. He then keeps going. My money's on us because their military and religious leaders are fanatics. Bro, I said, if you're the chief strategist for the Middle East, like his bio says, it says like chief strategist for Middle East Forum. I said, if you're a chief strategist for the Middle East, then no wonder we're so fucked at this moment. And this guy is getting entirely ratioed. He's got 260 replies. Then people in the replies are like, dude, you're obviously not strategic enough to avoid this battle. He just served you your ass. Keep getting cooked by the fat-faced 23-year-old. Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it in that case. But the point is, this dude actually had nothing for me. Like, I'm not even trying to be cocky or like take a victory lap here. I just genuinely think this guy had nothing for me. I asked him this question, and I was actually wondering, like, okay, this guy's a chief strategist for the Middle East. He's going to come up with some pretty good answer to my question, right? He's going to craft this. It took him like an hour to craft this response. And he basically just says, Iran hasn't conceded anything yet, actually, but they're going to. Dog, we are so cooked if these are the people representing us. So one more time, I'm not going to be nicer about this all. The conservatives, the neocons, some of these neocon boomers want me to be nicer about this. F that. We're doubling down and calling out this war. If you want to join us on this mission, subscribe below. I love you all, and peace out.
Follow Blue Eye Media for exclusive insights and breaking news sources from global-friendly outlets that you won't get from the mainstream TV and radio outlets of America. Learn how to play the flute of the globe and learn the real truth.